It's recording.
Recording? We're on?
We are on.
Good.
It's on.
We're on?
We're on. It's on. It's recording.
Podcast 77. 5:03, April 6th, April 5th. Friday.
It's Friday.
What did we do today?
Cut and clean.
A lot. Fucking ton of compact craft men pouches. Holy shit.
Shipped.
Yes, Waco, Ruby Ridge, as well. Bad, carry on. Bloody Sunday in Northern Ireland. The march that took place that day was a peace march. The powers that be used the parachute regiment to police that march. I feel confident that if those variables were programmed into a computer, basically frontline infantryman unit who have been trained to solve problems with violence and are given rifles with ammunition and then sent to keep order. The only result will be people are going to get shot. Okay, that's something of a different example. However, the Northern Ireland madness has cast a long shadow. Many good people have been caught up in this awful business, though your points, as always, stand up. The police here in West Yorkshire, also Greater Manchester, use the HK assault rifle.
Ooh.
The one that has the large carry handle. I forgot the model. It looks like a French FAMAS. Isn't that the XM 21 or something?
I mean, it
Didn't
could
they have
be.
a 20 mic grenade launcher one on that thing?
Yeah, it could be. Got more details.
So here, on a little
G3.
island where no cunt has any weapon, you can't even carry a pocket knife these days, the armed police are using assault rifles chambered in 5.56, and yes, they are being used. You may be able to find the news article of a young chap being shot at Junction 24 off of the M62. That was a few months ago. Last year now, I think about it. So, no guns, yet motherfuckers are
No
still
guns,
being
and
shot
yet you're
by,
being shot at by guns.
police state.
And you just had, I don't know his fucking name, Marcozy, maybe? The French Prime Minister just authorized the use of military forces against the Yellow Vests. Yellow Vests don't have guns, yet you see every one of those soldiers out there has a gun. We'll see what happens.
Talking about somebody relocating here.
If they, depending on how much, the hard part about, and I kind of talked about this before, because the Russians learned this when they took over the Soviet Union. The hard part about using your military forces against civilians is you have to create some sort of buffer between the two of them, like a class system. So like in Venezuela, there's a class system between the military and the civilians.
What, like upper class, middle class?
Yeah, they are part of
So the United States would be perfect for that.
Not really, because the problem with the United States is we diversify our military.
There's too many guns,
and we don't specifically. So, for example,
like we let them go home at night.
If you're in California and you're part of the California National, if you're in California, you're part of the California National Guard. The California National Guard will respond to whatever needs of the state of California. So those are your neighbors.
Would it though?
Yeah, it would.
If the government was going to use the military to come in and
quell something?
Yeah,
the National Guard, and then they would call the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps can...
That's what I'm saying. The National Guard wouldn't protect the citizenship from the military. They would be...
Oh, no. Yeah, no. The military, I mean, it just depends on what we're talking about as far as
right.
how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. But, like, the way the Russians do it is they make sure that whatever National Guard or whatever army unit is in that area. So if you're in Czechoslovakia, if you join the army in Czechoslovakia, you do not train in Czechoslovakia. You go to fucking somewhere else, because it's much easier to get an army. It's much easier to get an army to go to guns if they have no connection to the people that they're going to guns with. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in France, because I think a lot of those guys are.
That's why you would use like East Coast militia. I mean, well, East Coast National Guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
against California. But I don't think it'd be hard pressed. Anybody would fuck California up. I mean, you could bring people from anywhere, and they'd be like, California, yeah, fuck those motherfuckers.
I don't know, man. California, it's
I'm
crazy.
not saying they're not strong in number or power. I'm saying everybody hates California.
Yeah, everybody hates California. It's just, it's one of those things that people don't, especially liberals in California, like, They pass all these gun laws and then they bury their head in the sands. They
all
really
have guns.
They really don't realize that with all the gun laws that you passed, how many fucking guns are in California. California buys most of the guns. California buys more guns than Tennessee.
And the drugs.
Yeah, and the drugs. So
they're not really buying drugs here. I think they just kind of pass them out. You get an issue here.
Yeah, so
in West Virginia, like you get issued drugs. Like to get out of high school, you have to have had a child before age 13.
Before age 13?
Or fathered one.
Yes, I believe that.
And you have to take the drugs prescribed by your teacher and lawyer. There's a Queensryche song like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if downtown LA, there's certain parts of LA, if it starts to go fucking in flames again, unlike previous times, there are more fucking assault rifles in those areas. The National Guard would have a hell of a goddamn time.
Well, I mean, those assault rifles in the hands of bad guys.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just going. How did
the bad guys get the guns?
Well, the one, first off, 40,000. Like I said before, when they did the first,
a lot of bad guys. A lot of those guys have no fucking record. They can legally purchase those guns.
Well, and the other thing too is, like 40,000 assault rifles in LA County didn't get registered for the first registration.
And that's just the number they gave you. So it's safe to say that it's
probably more,
at least 50% higher.
And then 80%. That's the thing that's kind of gone. That's under the radar in the sense that nobody knows how many 80% are in California, So how many 80% AR-15 lowers were made? But I know one company that was doing 20,000 AR-15 lowers a month in California.
Isn't that why they went after Ares Armor?
Mm-hmm.
So, did Ares Armor?
They won that case.
Good.
Yeah, they won
Good
that
for
case.
them. Good for them. But isn't that kind of why? That's what they went after them for, right? Because they wanted to know who their customers were. They're like, hey, we want to see this, and they're like, fuck you.
They went after him. The reason why they went after him, which it's one of those things where you open the door. All you have to do is give them a reason to open the door. Once they open the door, they're going to go after everything they possibly can because they want to get a case. So, Ares was offering these 80% lowers that were all plastic.
Okay.
A bunch
of people made
much of people. But these are 80%. Okay? So, as an 80% lower, all plastic, there's no laws against it, whatever.
So finish it with a soldering iron.
You can buy it. Well, the way the company that made them, there was a company up in Northern California, the way they made them was all the areas that had to be taken out or dyed a different color. So you had this black plastic lower, and then everything that had to be cut out was a different color. The way they had to do that was they made a complete lower, and then they re-injected the plastic into the lower. So when they sold them, they were 80%. But ATF was like, no, you fucking made AR-15 lowers. Those were legit AR-15 lowers. Then you put that plastic in.
It's kind of splitting hairs.
It is.
Like Benchmade making fucking AOWs, cutting the barrel first or whatever.
It is. So, but that's what got them in the doors at Ares. Gotcha. Once they got in the door, they were like...
Now, is Ares that was doing lowers, was that also the Ares that was selling armor and slings and shit?
Yeah.
And they're no longer a going
concern? No longer a business.
Because of that?
No, it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that...
They're just like, we can make way more money on these fucking aluminum chips?
No, there was a hostile takeover, and the person who took the company over...
mismanaged.
Just fucking fell on a sword.
Where are those assets?
That's part of the assets that what's his name is fucking trying to pawn off.
Trying to sell.
He's trying to sell, yeah.
So, where are the bodies?
Oh, all that stuff is gone. I mean, that was when
the people.
Oh, they're still... Well, no, because the guy fucked up. Again, it was one of those situations where the company was running smoothly.
We need to drug test all these people.
No, he didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I know what happened.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we need to...
We need a drug test. We can't drug test them. None of them will be able to work here.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then so that all those people disappeared. And then they tried to bring them in on the down low, but they had already skylined themselves, so shit just fell apart from there.
Right.
Fell apart from there. But
I wonder if we could. If you find one, you'll find 100.
Oh yeah.
If we could find their Hefe, if we could find their foreman.
Well, yeah, that's the guy
then we just go fucking get a Greyhound. We buy a Greyhound bus.
Greyhound bus.
Bring them out. And we buy that fucking hotel and put them in it. Shit, we could buy... Dude, there's houses for sale all over this motherfucker for 10 grand. They'd be happy to live in them.
Yeah.
We'll pay them whatever. I mean, you pay them California wages. Fuck, they could buy cars and fucking castles and shit.
Oh yeah, castles here, yeah.
Laugh my ass off, episode 75. Skully, you scare me. I feel the same way. In America, I speak Texican, laugh out loud. The only color I see is green. I have American flags on everything. I get pissed every time I see a foreign flag on it. You guys want an SOE flag? You want like an SOE flag with little fucking 50-star combat cocks or something? I think we're going to do combat cocks with fucking red crosses and shit on them too to mark and designate medical stuff. Not that you need it.
No,
because people fucking dudes keep asking for them. I get pissed every time I see a foreign flag in a vehicle. If it's so great there, go. I'm starting to think they think they're going to take over. They do think that. That's exactly what they think. It's also a signifier, just like the gay pride flag stickers, so that, other people would see them. People that know what that is know that you're in that club. They should have had the one that's like the DTF sticker down to fuck. You just pull over the side of the road. Like, where was that shit at? Scary thing is, they are dumb-ass liberals and pussy-ass politicians. My customers are every color, and I get along with them all. I am a big-ass redneck. I think racism is fabricated. I think there is, 100% there is some racism, but we don't fucking see it. Like, the mainstay, and I mean, that's coming from a fucking white dude. From black friends' perspective, I'm sure I can find some black dudes that are like, no, it has affected, it affects me at work. But we know some fucking super fucking successful black guys, and I think they would tell you that it hasn't affected them 20 years ago, maybe. I mean, they grew up in some fucking tough places, so I don't know what it took to cross over.
I think it's like a. Now, don't get me wrong. There are idiots. There are racists. But if you go and look at the Southern Poverty Law Center,
It's all white people.
Well, the Southern Poverty Law Center will identify groups that they think are hate groups, right?
I'm pretty sure we're identified as a hate group.
Maybe
Camden, Tennessee.
Oh, probably Camden, Tennessee. They will identify groups that they think are hate groups, right? So they'll be like, hate group, hate group, hate group. And what happens is we start to go, oh my God, I can't believe there's all these racists or all these, Klan groups across the country or Nazis or whatever. But what Southern Poverty Law Center doesn't do, because Southern Poverty Law Center is just like the NRA, in order for them to get money, they have to scare people into thinking that things are worse than they really are. Truth of the matter is, if you sit down and do a little research on who the Southern Poverty Law Center is talking about, these groups are so fucking small that they're...
One of them has 3 members. One of them has 3 members.
It doesn't... They're targeting people that do not qualify being targeted. Like, they just had a story, NPR had a story about all these white nationalist groups they're forming, and they talked about, they're like, well, who's the worst? I mean, who is the worst of the worst of the worst? And they're like, oh, it's this group. And they named the group. And they said they're planning bombings, they have guns, and they're fucking anarchists. And they just went on about
there's an interview of this. You can see it on YouTube. It's fucking funny as shit.
How crazy they are. And then the NPR person, thinking they were going to get a different answer than they were going to get a different answer, was really like in shock mode and like, how many members do they have? We need to know how many members they have.
Like, we got to act. We got to mobilize. We got to go get these fools.
Well, this is crazy. We got to get them. They had 9 members. They had 9 members. And only one of them, the leader, was actually like an active member. Now, I guess 9 people could do... 9 people could... There are 330 million people in this country. If you can only find nine people in this group that hates everybody, chances are that's not really who we need to worry about. You know, at one time in the South, there were 350,000 card-carrying Klan members. Not hiding in the woods Klan members. I'm talking about Klan members who would go to work in their shit. Hey, what's up? What's up, Billy? That's racism. That's fucking racism. When you can openly walk down the street with your fucking Nazi flag, that's racism.
I think racism too is like if you and I see a black dude and you're like, fuck that motherfucker, you know, like I think that's also racism. But I mean, is there racism out there right now that affects folks? I'm sure that somewhere there is, but but it ain't in this fucking town.
Not the institutionalized racism that they talk about.
Correct.
This is the best time. This is the best time ever to be an American right now. And everybody's running around talking about how bad it is. And it's for the Democrat Party, that's all they have. Here's the thing. If we go back 10 years when Democrats and Republicans could sit in the same room and have a conversation, things would change very drastically in this country. But Democrats, because they are losing their base, because their base is figuring out, hey man, you motherfuckers haven't done anything for us. Because they're losing their base, they have to break us up into tribes. If they can break us up into tribes, then they can go, this group is using its power over you, and this group is doing its power over you. They can make everybody hate each other again because that's what they need. That's how they get their money. It's no different than what the NRA does. Next time, you know, when everybody's talking about, oh my God, they're going to ban this. You guarantee the NRA is like, we are going to get so much fucking money. They love the bump stock ban. You know how much fucking money they got for that? Because people are like, hey, we need to fight this. They love it. And I guarantee that the NRA
when those coffers fill up, I wonder how the bonus gets issued out to the fucking...
They have a board membership, so...
That's what I'm saying. I wonder where the profit is.
I am sure that the Poverty Law Center is exactly the same way.
Like
they have a board,
split it up
but they have a board membership that is unfireable. So you can't. So the members of the NRA cannot fire.
They're voted though, aren't they? Aren't they? They not changed? Only the president gets voted.
There's like one or two people who sneak in, but like LaPierre, that guy, he can't be fired. He's on a contract. He can't be fired. Not only is he on a contract, but LaPierre, outside of what he gets paid, I don't know what he gets paid. But he's got like a $2 million. Just think about.
I thought Tom Selleck was going to go.
He's got a $2 million slush fund. Well, here's the thing: they do it all the time because they did this with Chuck Norris. I mean, not Chuck Norris, Charlton Heston. They have the actual board and the actual president, and then they have the front, and that's what Charlton Heston could not have gone.
Like the Pope, you can shoot this Pope, but you can't shoot.
You can't shoot the real Pope. Charlton Heston, there was nothing that Charlton Heston
could actually do
outside of making a commercial and from my cold dead hands. That's it. That's all he could do. That's the same way Southern Poverty Law Center is. They have to make up things. And I am saying that from a perspective of I lived in California my whole life. I guarantee you I can take you to two places.
Duke.
Yeah, I can take you to two places in California where, actually 3 places, where we can go meet Klan members. We can go there and meet Klan members.
Metzger, and one of them was Metzger and one of them was Duke.
Yeah. We can go meet Klan members. And that was in California. I have been here. I am sure.
I haven't seen shit.
I am sure that there's probably some lurking around in the bushes somewhere. But I've seen, I've said this before.
They might be burning a cross out in their backyard, fucking somewhere. But when there's some black folk around, they ain't fucking.
Yeah, I've said this before. I've seen more openly gay people here in Tennessee than I ever saw in California. I've seen more. Well, maybe not more. But about the same amount of interracial couples.
Do you think that maybe just the times have changed? Like if we went back to California, it'd be there now, out in the open.
I don't think so, because the thing that
there's a lot of interracial couples here.
There is, but the thing I think that California does very well, and it's what tricks people, is California segregates community very well.
See, I thought so. Like when we moved here, we call it TNB, Tennessee Bottom, Tennessee Booty. You know, there's a lot of fucking chicks with enormous fucking asses, like literally. It's like you took fucking and put them in this rolling machine that rolled down and pushed everything into their fucking ass. Because there's chicks here, like, there's a chick with like 100-pound upper body and a 300-pound lower body, and they're everywhere. But then I thought, well, you know what? They were probably in California. You just didn't see them because there were so many people in California. You couldn't see through the trees. But there's less people here, so you see it. But I don't think so, man. I think it's like a population of inbreeding or something.
It could be. I mean, this is, there are people.
I also heard that it's because of diet soda.
Could be too. It could be that too. There are people here. You will meet people here. Camden is a small town. Like,
there's definitely some sisters and brothers.
If you live in California, you don't really understand small town. But Camden is a small town, and there you will meet people like. You'll meet people in Camden that'll be like, nope, never left Camden. What?
Yeah, like never. What are you guys doing this weekend? Going to Nashville? I've never been to Nashville.
What do you mean you never left Camden?
What are you doing? Going mudding? What is mudding?
There are those people here, but I mean, where we were at, I'm totally lost now. But anyways, I don't see.
There's also people like, hey, you want a job? Why the hell would I want a job?
Yeah, I see more. I will just say this. All the bullshit that they talk about in California and all the bullshit that liberals are running around talking about, I see more of that here. As far as people living together and actually just people living together of all different races here than I ever saw in California. That's the thing.
And there's not problems with it. Like the problems we have don't come from any of that.
Yeah.
We have like crackhead problems and fucking little theft problems. We have the same problems everywhere else has. We just don't have as many people to see through. So they publish it in the newspaper. Like when you get arrested here, they put your picture on the fucking newspaper and on the Facebook page. When you bounce a check, you walk in and there's some footage of you writing the check from the security camera and your bounce check. So, like, there's some shaming. So, hopefully those people don't do it. But, like, we don't have any there ain't no damn race problems here. You don't ever hear anybody fucking saying, racial shit. So
yeah. And I actually, there's a pretty good story of me talking about how when I first came here, I thought, this is just a trap. It's a trick.
Because you're a filthy Mexican.
It's a trick. There is... Like, the Klan is just... Like, they know you're going to move here, and they're just waiting for you to sign the line on the house, so they got you captured, and they're going to be, like, doing crazy Klan stuff. But, I mean, there is... like I said, there's probably... and that's what we're talking about is how many, right? How many? Is there a number... Is there a number... Because even if you look at Charlottesville, is there a number of people that... really is creating a movement? And those dumbasses with their Nazi flags and all that, 35 guys? Really?
I think most of them were Antifa anyway.
Yeah, 35 guys? Really? I mean, come on. That's not a movement. That's not anything that you should be
all you Antifa girls
up late at night thinking about.
All you little skinhead chicks, all you fucking little Chelseas, and all you little fucking Antifa girls with half your head shaved, stick to hardcore porn. We like watching you there. Go get some more tattoos. Stick to hardcore porn. We want to look at your ovaries and your fucking intestines. Keep doing that. Stop getting beat up out in public. Fucking stop going where people are going to beat you up. Stop saying stupid shit, and people will stop knocking your fucking teeth out.
And I'm just like I think I'm kind of like Ben Shapiro in the sense that I will say this. Show me the racist shit. Tell me where the Klan rally is. I will go with you and help you bust up that Klan rally. Show me the grocery store that's got the sign out front that says no blacks allowed, or no Puerto Ricans allowed, or no Asians allowed. I will go and stand out there with a sign with you and protest. But It's not real. It's not real.
Those signs are all down.
They're all collectible.
I see them for sale every fucking
They're all
weekend.
collectible now.
Usually you know who I see picking them up and buying them? Fucking black folks.
Yeah. They're all collectible now.
I think that racism is fabricated. Real people don't have time for that shit. John, is Super Beats bullshit? Is there something else you recommend?
Oh man, Super Beats it's not bullshit. If you have some sort of
I see it all over my social media every fucking day. It's almost got me to the point where I'm just gonna buy some and try it.
That's probably why Super Beats is super high in sugar.
So here's the deal. I get up every morning, or I try to get up every morning, and I use more than you're supposed to use. I use a teaspoon of cayenne. I use a tablespoon of turmeric. I use a tablespoon of honey. I use half of a squeezed lemon. And then I run hot water in it. And I drink that. And I try to not have anything else in my system. And I also have a cup of water because that shit's so fucked. Oh, apple cider vinegar. It's supposed to be like a couple tablespoons, but I just put a fucking good splash in there. Don't drink. So I was drinking apple cider vinegar, just chugging it, right? Not like just a mouthful, you know. It'll fuck your teeth up. So dilute it in water for sure. But that's the morning drink you see all these fucking high performers and all these billionaires and shit talk about. Even Andy Frisella, who sells other shit, drinks that. That's where I first heard it, actually. And then I usually do that. I go sit in the bathroom with the water super hot before I get in the shower and sit there and drink that and then chase it with some water. Then I get in the shower. By the time that's over, about an hour has passed. And I'll foam roll or, do whatever. Then it's about time to start thinking about going to the gym. At that point, I take 2 scoops of Swinney Nutrition protein powder. That's the protein powder I use. Mix it with water. Just a couple inches in a shaker cup, chug that down. Then I take a half Starbucks cup full of water. And I use Run Everything Labs is what I've been using. I'll use 187. I'll use different things. But right now I'm using Run Everything Labs, Dana and Rob's company. And I use their EWP, Enter With Purpose. Now, EWP has changed a lot. Originally, when I started using it, I really, really liked the product. And it fucking worked really good. It had beta-alanine in it. It made you tingle. Amanda fucking hated it. And I used... their green apple. It was fucking great. And then they ran out. So I bought it off Amazon and I bought all of it. Like literally bought all of it. I liked it so much that I then started buying it off eBay. And I even went as far as to buy it off eBay from a person in Australia. So I got all this stuff, right? Well, it changed. It was different. Somewhere in the mix, they used a different lab or reformulated or something, and it just wasn't working the same. So I have all these things of... It's just like when Jacked 3D went out of, stopped. When they took that product out of there, that chemical or whatever, I bought a ton of that shit. A fucking ton of it. And then I continued to even buy it, and they shipped me the new shit. So I have a lot of containers of pre-workout that's just fucking sitting unused. Like, I have enough that I could fucking sell that bullshit. So then they came out with a new formulation of EWP, and it was harsh. Like, if you weren't working out, it would jack you up, but like it would fuck me up. Like I couldn't, like, all I could do was fucking work out or cardio. It was great for that, but it was definitely not, I was not able to function and do work. It was like I would think meth is, right? You're going to do a lot of movement and get a lot of shit done, but not the shit you need to do. Like you just unsoldered all the fucking capacitors and shit out of your computer or something. So then Rags, who works for them, they said he wanted something a little more mellow, so they came out with white label, black label. So the white label, very, very good flavors. Fucking great flavors. Works good. I use that stuff through the day sometimes. But the black label shit to go to the gym works perfect. So at that point, you guys will see me make a video. I'll get in the truck, drive to the gym, 15 minutes on the way to the gym. I drink that, so it's gone before I get there. Pre-workout, ideally, like a lot of people, you'll take pre-workout through the day, just put it in a cup because it tastes good. Really, you want to fucking chug it all at once. You want it in your system at one time. And that's how that Black Label shit is. I want it all down. I want it in my system 15 minutes before I walk in the gym. And then I go in the gym and I don't think nothing about it. I've got the energy I need. By the time I get out, when I walk out of the gym, I have another scoop of Swinney Nutrition. Not 2 scoops this time, just 1 scoop. And I'll just add some water to it, drink that. At that point, I'd use carbs with that. I use simple carbs, something with some sugars in it. Usually like fruit bars or something. Fast digesting carbs, like rice or something. Rice cakes would probably work. It's going to up your glycogen and you're going to fucking pull that in. On the days that I use that, on the days I don't use that, I don't feel, I feel kind of flat and not as vascular. I feel a lot more fucking vascular and bigger. And it could just be fucking mine, but I mean, I see it in the mirrors and reflection and shit. When you take the carbs and the protein right after the gym, it works better. And that's at about 7 o'clock. And then I get back here at about 7:15. I get here at 7:15 and I'll use OptiGreens, Andy Frisella's product, First Form Nutrition, OptiGreens. I'll use 2 scoops of that and in a cup of water, and I'll use 3 drops of Lugal's iodine at that point. And then at 9 o'clock it's breakfast time, and then it's fucking just from there. So
skip Super Beats.
Yeah, so the Super Beats wasn't anywhere.
Super
I've
Beats,
never
huh?
used Super Beats. I've never even seen them other than online.
It's all sugar, man. It's really all sugar.
I believe it is all sugar. Skully just purchased my first Microtech out the front combat Trudon, and I love it. Just not very practical for me. I have fucking 20 of them. I never carry those motherfuckers. I like them. They're fucking neat. That's why I have 20 of them. You have one, didn't you?
Two.
Everyday utility type knife, mainly because, here's the other problem. We're cutting boxes and tape. Butters, I got everybody those at Blade Show the last couple years. I got them fucking whatever the Blade Show special was, right? They had some very cool out the front knives. When you gum those up, and when you have that residue on there and you retract the thing back inside, those stop working pretty fucking quick. I've got like 3 of them around here that don't fucking work because of simple stuff, as simple as tape. Just not very practical for me. Everyday type utility knife, mainly because I don't want to fuck it up. I'll never get rid of it and will carry it when I'm not at work. What Microtech would you recommend as a daily work utility knife? Would rather a folder than a fixed. Thanks again and keep up the great work. I'll tell you, I have one in my pocket right now, as a matter of fact. So this is dead on contact, kill on contact, make you poop on contact, DOC, dead on contact. This is a collaboration between Strider and Microtech. Microtech, I believe, makes one. This was a gift, and I use this. Like, this is what's in my pocket 90% of the time. When I go out on weekends or something, I'll put on a knife to match whatever watch I'm wearing and shoes. But this thing, I fucking beat the fuck out of this. And I also have a full carbon fiber version, a limited edition one. Thank you, Jody Bauckham. He found it. Somebody selling it at the pit at Blade Show a couple years ago. But, man, this is my workhorse. And it's awesome. What do you recommend?
I mean, if you're looking for Microtech, go with that.
Or a Strider, or fucking an AR, or a GB, or, it just depends what you're doing. But this is my outside fucking mowing knife, doing whatever. A lot of my knives have Cerakote on them, like the SOE knives have Cerakote on them. If you go and fucking start beating on shit, that paint will chip.
Eventually come off, yeah.
And then for, like, super dress knives, I love fucking Tony Marfione stuff. That's who owns Microtech. That's the custom shit. Holy shit, man, that fucking stuff is like jewelry. It's amazing. And the Sterling Gear stuff, that's lasered on the Striders, that shit's fucking beautiful too, and those beads Jade does. As y'all said, when it comes to four-wheelers and other off-road equipment, safety first. On a bright, beautiful sunny day in 2010, me, 5 friends, had been out riding four-wheelers. There was a jump I had hit probably 20 times that day, so
with no issue.
I've gone a little fast on those four-wheelers in the garage. And they're a little heavy, so the momentum actually fucking, you go, but the bike doesn't really go, right?
Uh-huh.
So now you are like Superman off the bars. It's fucking pretty sketchy. Like the bike will kind of do it, but you don't want to fucking do that. We have big, heavy four-wheelers. We were getting ready to go home, and I pulled around to one of my buddy's trucks and tossed my helmet into it and yelled at a girl that was sitting in it, "Hey, baby, you should hop on this thing with me." And then I gunned it full throttle straight at this jump. I woke up 14 hours later in the hospital bed at a trauma center. Prior to that day, I could have told you what color underwear I had on 16 years ago on that specific day. I'll bet you can't tell us what color that chick's underwear were. Because you got fucked up. Or was she there when you woke up? Now I couldn't tell you what color underwear I put on an hour ago and when I left the house. I can't remember anything anymore. It becomes very annoying. I'd also like to point out, if you ever find yourself in an ATV accident, make sure the people you are with know how to handle it. Had it been up to my friends, my life could be very different today. They wanted to pick my broken ass up off the ground and take me home and ask what to do with me. However, by some miracle, a local biker we called Big John happened to be riding by and seen it happen. He ran over and told my idiot friends to stop trying to move me, and he ran down the road to a friend's and called 911, and that friend also happened to be a trauma nurse. She ran down the road to me, put a collar on me, and stabilized me best as she could while waiting for EMS. Another crazy part of the story, I don't remember anything in the 14 hours in between me taking the helmet off and waking up in the hospital, but when I woke up, my family said I kept asking where Big John was. Crazy. Wear a helmet, people. Don't be an idiot. Yeah, you had a fucking really good concussion, and obviously you have a little brain damage with the memory loss. Do you know who Lance Manning is? TRB EDC. Our buddy Lance was blown up and actually punched through a cinder block wall, and had a lot of memory stuff. And he's got a lot of stuff. It's pretty fucking amazing. In a lot of ways, he is better today than he was before the accident through just brain games and fucking
had to learn how to ride.
He was 2 years old. Had to learn how to fucking wipe his ass.
Bike,
everything.
all that shit. Yeah.
You would never know it to see him today. You should follow him on Instagram, Captain Lance on Instagram, and maybe reach out to him. There's some, and also there's a guy named Quick, who is a brain coach, and I believe he was labeled, when he was a child, he was labeled educationally retarded. And now billionaires pay him to coach them on how to memorize and, just brain stuff. Definitely check that out. There's something else I wanted to say. Oh, well, I fucking ate a curb when I was a kid, doing kickouts and shit, trying to impress this girl named Stacy. And I remember running home. I hit the curb, had to get stitches in my chin and shit. I remember running home. I do not remember going to the hospital. I do not remember getting the stitches. I remember waking up on the couch and asking, we had a Cabela's catalog. And I was just enamored with this Cabela's catalog, and asked my mom, I'm like, when did we get this? She goes, for the 100th time. You got it today, and you've looked through it 100 times. And I just kept groundhogging that, like reliving that hour period over and over and over. Like it kind of sounds like you did. Yeah, and four-wheeler, man.
Lose people all the time here with
accidents like that in an ATV. You would have fucking probably just walked right away from that. You might have had to have drugged the ATV up into the trailer with a winch or a come along or something. But you yourself, short of your arm coming out and getting snapped, people are usually pretty fucking okay in those things. I've had some fucking insane crashes in them and just literally unbuckled and got out. In regards to shock troop law enforcement, a few years back when I was social, I was walking home from a local bar, not drunk. The local police rolled up on me. I stopped walking, put my hands up. I took a fist in the kidney, and his partner kicked my leg out from under me. I assume they fuck each other. I received a drunk in public fine and was let go. My point is that how you turn milquetoast people into haters, I would have put the cuffs on myself. Judge suspended my fine. When the judge asked if I had anything to say, I told the two cops, I hope you go to the hood one night and don't make it out. That's some shit, man. When I got home from juvenile hall. When I first got home from juvenile hall, when I was arrested with, dope in the car, I did 6 months maybe in juvenile hall, turned 18, came home a couple days before Christmas. This cop named Matt Baker, he was kind of the town hard ass, right? He worked Eastern Division precinct there, which is a big, huge area, but it encompassed all of Tirasana, and all the kids were scared to death of Matt Baker. Matt Baker came and picked me up for questioning, said that I had broken into a house and killed a dog during a burglary with a baseball bat. And I'm like, I want an attorney. I had just gotten out of jail, I'm like, fuck it, I want an attorney. So they call my mom, and my mom comes down, and they're talking, and he hadn't told me shit other than, we know you did this. We have somebody, your accomplice fucking gave you up. We know you did this, blah, blah, blah. So they get to talking to my mom, and I'd never heard any of the rest of it until mom. They tell mom, and mom's like, he was in fucking juvenile. He was in jail when that happened. I just fucking picked him up like fucking 3 days ago. And this had happened fucking weeks ago while I was in custody. But it's just fucking cops, man. A lot of it's not, they don't know shit. They're just hoping they can scare you enough to fucking give yourself up. I think that was the HSBC and was related to the cartels, not legal marijuana. Of course, they don't mind washing billions of cartel money, but thousands from small legal weed companies isn't good enough for them. If I have it right, the cartel money was deposited in the night vault, and they made specific bags for the vault size so they could squeeze in as much money as possible. The bank was warned before, but they ignored it completely. The fine was a giant joke. At the moment, there is a huge money laundering investigation going involving Russian money and Scandinavian banks, a German bank, and I believe also some American banks. RE expensive cars. There is an epic story from a guy who made lots of money with Star Wars stuff, Dennis something. He was still in his 20s and dressed sloppy. He walked past a Rolls Royce dealer and decided to go in. He asked a salesman how much a specific car was, so the salesman looked him up and down and told him that he had to ask. If he had to ask, it would be too much. Long story short, he was so irritated, he bought the car, and when he was outside, he realized two things. He didn't have a driver's license, and two, he hated the color. He got a chauffeur and never sold the car, I believe.
So, yeah, the HSB thing, the banks that the cartel was taking the money to, they actually had to make a different teller window. They actually made a completely different teller window for these guys to bring these bags in and shove all this money through. And HSB, they had no problem taking that money. And the thing about banks in general is, when you're talking about the top, those fucking guys at the top, they all know each other. So you guarantee if one bank was doing it, they were all doing it. It's just they got caught.
Brian Fraser says, part of the reason cash and in-town mom and pop company has stopped is online Amazon purchasing. We complain about the loss of it, but support the replacement of the company who works local. 100%. I'm fucking guilty. More guilty than any of you guys probably. Unlike SOE, it's made in the motherfucking USA. Thanks for the order. Thanks for my order, storing my collector item SOE wallet till hell freezes over in my safe like a John Willis gold coin. Thanks SOE for the content and time. Crazy Waco shit is how they portray him as the new Jesus after. I remember when it happened, no one really questioned the news and what was spun 24/7 back then. John, the people who want to know business, internet business models, listen. Thankfully, every once in a while, someone says something, and we get a brand new thread. Thanks, SOE and crew.
Those small mom and pop places don't just get crushed by Walmart in the sense of, when you're talking about the internet, if if you think about your town and there's a small mom and pop place, if they actually have a viable product, if they're selling a viable product in that town, they'll survive if they can absorb the technology. Because that's the beautiful thing about the internet right now. The internet can make nobody's rich. Meaning if you have a viable product, you don't need to go to fucking Walmart and get your ass fucked because they're like, we're only going to buy them for 19 cents a piece, bitch.
Which they do.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
you don't need to
go.
go.
And a lot of you guys might not know. A good example of Walmart. Walmart will do some deal with somebody and then they will renegotiate on the next quarter. All that stuff in Walmart is floored. That company that put that there doesn't have any money until that shit sells. So Mountain House, for instance. Mountain House that went into Walmart was a great deal initially. Then when you started buying Mountain House, the Mountain House had different ingredients and much higher sodium. It was a fucking completely different product to hit the target price they wanted. So when you bought Mountain House, we were a Mountain House dealer. We had a truck pull up, and we took a fucking half a semi-truck full of Mountain House when we were in Oceanside. The Mountain House at Walmart is not the same Mountain House that we were buying.
That's with most products that are at Walmart is you have to make a special deal with them.
And they renegotiate.
And they fuck everybody over really that's doing it. So, if those mom and pop places if they can be modernized, if you can get somebody in there that's like, hey, this is where we got to be on the internet, this is how we got to handle social media, they can survive. It's just what ends up happening is that technology. It's like the technology overwhelms older people like myself. Like I don't have an Instagram account. I wouldn't even know how to find Instagram. That technology overwhelms old people, and so we just are like, fuck it, I don't need it. When that technology can open up doors around the world, we have people all over the fucking world listening to this podcast, which to me is crazy. Because there's some places I'm like,
holy shit,
how the fuck is that guy listening to this podcast on that island? But it's just crazy. But you can
Brazil. Thank you. I shipped your order today to Brazil.
There's even somebody in Iran listening to this podcast, which that really blows my mind.
Or how about fucking? Where was the power just off? Where's Trump wanting to invade?
Venezuela. There's a guy that listens to all our podcasts in Venezuela.
England. England doesn't even have power. How the fuck?
I know. They don't have power there.
How do you see through all the dragon smog?
So I mean, it's just amazing how many people you can touch when your clientele is the world. You figure if you're in Camden and you got a population of 3,000 people and you're selling fucking shoe porn, chances are you're only going to get about 1% of the people in Camden to come in and buy that shoe porn. But if you can now open up to the internet to 7 billion people and get 1% of them to buy your shoe porn, you're a millionaire.
Yeah, you want to be rich? Come here and we'll do Amish porn. Everybody wants that Amish porn.
I'm sure
it's hard to get it. The Amish girls want to do it. We can exploit it, and the rest of the world wants to see it.
Amish porn.
Now, with that said, good example of what Jeff was just saying. We have a little place right up the road here. We have Lowe's, the nearest Lowe's to here. Walmart has some stuff. I'm thinking tools, tape measures, screws, building stuff, right? Walmart has a little of that. They've got a box of like 400 fucking I put everything together with drywall screws. That's my go-to. Walmart has some drywall screws. Mark's Building Supply has drywall screws, boxes, decking screws, you can buy it by the pound, whatever you want. But where Mark shines is Mark is close to us. He's literally a mile from us, maybe. Let's say a mile. I always stop at Mark's because he's on my way to all those other places. I try to give Mark's business. I don't even know if there's a man named Mark that fucking works there. But where they fucking really shine, they have a Fastenal wall. Fastenal comes in, and they have all the drawers, and they have the chart, and they have everything all the time. I'm going to have Fastenal bring me. I'm going to buy a fucking Fastenal wall. That's what Jack and Wes did, man. Yeah. They have that whole Fastenal wall. And we got a dude that's a district manager that fucking comes here that works for Fastenal. We needed our digital cutter, right? It has airlines in it, and one of the airlines finally blew. So Cody tried to tape it up, and it didn't really work. I'm like, go to the auto parts store. I didn't even think Mark's. I'm like, go to the auto parts store. They're going to have some airline. Take in what you need. So he gets a piece of airline, plugs it in. There's these little fucking washers. I mean fucking tiny washers They have little teeth all over them. And he's like, where are we going to get this from? I'm like, go to Mark's and see if they have it or something close. Buy everything they have
That's close.
that even looks like it. Something's going to work. And he does. He goes up there. But like Mark's, okay, so we're in town of 3,000. We have people here that legitimately don't use the internet. We have people here on phones that are still flip phones. Like, you can't get on the internet with them. They invited me. I think he kind of did it as a, I'll show you guys. They have a Rotary Club here, which is like a meeting business development club. Where do they meet? At the fucking
hospital.
The hospital cafeteria. So they invite me as guest speaker because it's his turn to bring somebody. When I started talking, you could literally hear these motherfuckers' eyes roll. Like, half of them were for us, and half of them fucking hated us. Just because we were fucking who we are. We're not 50-year generation here. We're friends with Jaeger. And something came up, and I'm like, half your guys' restaurants stay in business because of TAC response. I know a bunch of you guys hate James, but James, you literally are able to go eat at your choice of 15 restaurants
because of Jaeger.
Only because of tactical response. You don't have anybody else bringing outside people in here. The people James brings to the restaurants locally here keep the restaurants in business. Any restaurant owner will tell you that revenue is more so. You know where they go most of the time? To the Mexican restaurant, because those dudes never fucking lose their breath when 30 people walk through the door. They never act like it's a hassle, and they go out of their way. I would shop at Mark's a lot more. Like, if Mark came to me and he's like, hey, I really want to expand my business. Well, you're selling a product that you have to sell consumer, business to consumer, face to face. So the first thing I would do, it's go tell all these local people that you want their business. Walk into their place of business. Hey, thank you for doing business with us. Here's a business card. Please keep us in mind. And throw some little fucking get-togethers. These yokels around here would come if you had free fucking coffee. Fucking do it one weekend a month and have new product. Call DeWalt. Call a couple places. Have them put a fucking tent up. Bring their fucking NASCAR out. Put up a fucking balloon. Offer free coffee and donuts. And invite them to come. You're not ever going to see that shit happen. You're never going to see it happen. Because if I went to them and I'm like, hey man, I really like you being here. I want to see you do better. They would go, we don't want any more business. I don't know if they would actually say that. That is the company that would probably be most open to it. But a lot of these companies around here, they wouldn't hear that shit, not from us. And,
yeah,
the crazy thing is, SOE, who does no business, I mean zero business in the local area, everything we do ships. I threw a party. I have 1,000 people come, like, to a get-together. I fucking just type on the internet on Friday night, hey, some of us are going to hang out late. We just ordered a bunch of pizzas. Anybody want to come hang out? Come hang out. We got motherfuckers that drive 2 hours to come eat pizza with us for fucking 30 minutes. They wouldn't do it. But you could, and you could use the internet and marketing to do that. They don't want to hear it. They just don't. They want to reap the benefits, but they don't want to do any of the work. And I think it's more not that they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it because we advised it. I think that's what it is. Like, we really do stay to ourselves.
Hey, and if you take my shoe porn idea and you get 1% of 7 billion people to buy it, all I want is a nickel. That's it. Just
a nickel of each.
A nickel of each sale. Just give me a nickel of each sale. We're good to go.
We got some shoe porn shit in the work. We should do an old Vietnam jungle boot shoe porn. How about a Vietnam jungle boot with some fucking pinup girls on the side?
It's hard to find jungle boots in the right size in these days. They just don't make them anymore.
What? Alibaba has them.
Yeah, they're not.
Alibaba.
Those aren't real.
Alibaba. FedEx is the largest air force in the world. Main hub and headquarters is in Atlanta Airport. They have their designated landing strip at the airport and hangars they built. Thanks for the content, SOE and crew. So we have one in Nashville too, has a huge FedEx hub. And we were driving somewhere, man. Fucking somewhere that you would not expect there to be a fucking FedEx runway and hub in the middle of fucking nowhere. Chainsaw. Remember when we went to the chainsaw place?
Yeah.
So if you just keep on that 2-lane highway, it becomes a 4-lane highway, and you're like, this 4-lane highway looks like it cost $1 billion. Like, it's fucking in the middle of nowhere, right? And there's a fucking FedEx hub. Because anytime I see an industrial park, I always go to see what every area's industrial park looks
what's
like.
in there?
Because I thought, when I moved here, I thought, if we ever get big enough that we could have a building in the industrial park, that's going to be that we made it. That's our I used to think that if I could just have UPS come to my shop once a day, I made it. And then I'm like, man, I'd like to have a semi truck pull up. If a semi truck came here just once a month for something, we made it. Now we're looking at a fucking train track, like legitimate, like no bullshit. We have discussed the dynamics and the possibility of having a train track come to the property. Yeah, that's fucking pretty wild. Is FedEx really the biggest air force? Is that true? Do you know that to be true? It all just comes down to our government flexing their muscle for the news agencies to broadcast to all of us citizens to show us they're the wolves and we're just sheep. Well, most Americans and sheep, but not all of us. Some of us are sheepdogs. Tell them who just bought Fox.
Oh, interesting. You know, when you think about when you think about the news you get,
CNN, Fox, both.
All those guys. So you may not know this, but in the 30s there was a law that was passed that said you cannot use propaganda against against U.S. citizens. That means that you can't make fake stories to get U.S. citizens to do what you want them. Obama changed that. Obama changed it so that you can use propaganda against U.S. citizens.
Look up Operation Woodpecker.
And
Woodpecker.
If you look at the way the news cycle has changed since he's been president, like even MSNBC and Rachel Maddow, she is more like Fox News and less like CNN 10 years ago, because they can now use propaganda against American citizens. So you can't believe anything that they're saying because they can use propaganda to push an agenda. Well, Disney just bought all of them. So Disney just bought all of them. So they're all telling you the same thing, but just with a different twist on it. Whether it's Fox News telling you to hate fucking Jussie Smollett, or CNBC telling you to love Jussie Smollett, they're all working for the same people. It's the reason why Jussie did not get fired. So think about it. Fox News, the hardcore right news place, Fox News. Jussie Smollett works for Fox Entertainment. That means that the same people that own that company also own his ass, and he did not get fired from his job, which should tell you that this is all a big game that they're playing to keep you distracted from what is really going on in the world, what is really going on in the United States. It's just distraction and games. Jussie Smollett was part of Booker's anti-lynching campaign. I want you to think about that. He was part of the anti-lynching campaign, and he just so happens to get lynched? Come on, man. You can't even... There are not even people in Hollywood that would throw that out there and be like, hey, I got an idea for a movie. Because it's that fucking stupid. It's that fucking stupid. So, I mean, when you're watching the news, just think about that. That pyramid at the top is getting such a fine point on it as far as who's controlling what, that you can't believe anything those motherfuckers are saying anymore.
Tell them Disney just bought them all.
Yeah.
You tell them who Smollett works for.
Yep.
It all just comes down to our government flex. We did that one, and still nobody has attacked since Pearl Harbor, and in which we had knowledge of the attack beforehand. We did. Look up, just put in Pearl Harbor false flag into YouTube and just watch some of those videos. Pretty fucking crazy. You will see presidents before Congress saying, yes, we knew, but our beloved government knew the public needed a reason for us to get in the war, so they let the attack happen. And I'm convinced a man on kidney dialysis sitting in a cave did not outsmart the greatest military and country in history and brought down the towers. It was clearly a controlled demolition, but what the fuck do I know? The CIA created a term for people like me in the 1960s. who question everything. They coined them conspiracy theorists. Yes.
Well, the problem is you're actually wrong. The CIA created
Conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theories. They want you to come up with all these because just like I said before, when you're talking about the Jussie Smollett case and how he was part of the anti-lynching campaign, they want you, you know what they want you doing? They want you spending countless hours on something that doesn't mean anything, like,
that's it, 100%.
Did fucking Osama bin Laden outsmart the United States? Of course he did.
The more news you watch.
Of course he did. You know why? Because we were the ones that were saying that he was on dialysis in a cave. Was he on dialysis in a cave? No, he was living in his house in fucking Pakistan. Exactly where we found him. So, they don't want you to pay attention to what's really going on. They don't want you looking into, I mean, it's like I say all the time. The Democrats are doing it right now. They want 6 years. They want 6 years of Trump's tax returns. Why? Because they want to make sure he doesn't have any conflict of interest. Conflict of interest? Dianne Feinstein's husband got the contract to make the rail system that is not getting made.
After spending $4 billion.
Conflict of interest?
$70 billion.
All they're doing is making you look over here when the real shit is going on over here.
Skully, you mentioned going blind in your left eye. Since you have diabetes, it would benefit you to have a displayed pupil eye exam by an ophthalmologist.
I have to get those every year.
Dr. Shelton does that, doesn't he?
I have to get those every year, and I have I'm 100% on my eyes. This is just old age. As far as my peer groups, like all my fucking snipers that I grew up with in the Marine Corps, I'm the holdout. I am actually the only holdout in my peer group that's not wearing glasses already.
But you need them. So I had Shelton. Dr.
I don't
Shelton.
need them, but I need. You know what I'm saying? I don't need them. It just depends on the lighting conditions.
So when I bought the first car, right? Mm-hmm. We bought them both in Atlanta. The first one I drove back, and at night I just kept having to like click my, that lens in there. You can kind of click it. I kept having to kind of click it and fuck with my shit to focus, right? And he said that's because you're aging. It's worse at night. He's like, you need some glasses, mild prescription. So he made some, and they worked perfect. And I wore them as safety glasses when I would sew because they're nice. They're Oakleys, you know. But I didn't ever wear them all the time because when Cody got glasses, like he always had to. I was afraid I was going to have to wear them all the time. So now, 4 years later, I put those on. I'm like, holy shit, I can't see shit. So my prescription has changed way beyond that. Yeah. I need to be wearing glasses for sure. I just don't want to have to always wear glasses. Man, spot on. ATF went and trained at SF camp. BFHFF. Okay, re-raid. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what any of that is.
The Marines had to trade their Fitbit in for Ranger beads.
Here's the first thing you don't know about the Marine Corps. We don't have no money for no goddamn Fitbits. It was SF guys that were running around the camps with their Fitbits on and their silky shorts, and their Marines aren't even allowed to do that in country. We can't take our PPE off even if we have to take a shit or a shower. So it was you Army guys that was fucking giving the Taliban all the coordinates to all the fucking running trails in Afghanistan.
Jordan Ridgway, you know that guy?
No.
Hey, Skully. Yes.
Yet. I don't know.
What the fuck's that supposed? Is that like hoorah?
That maybe some Army shit.
Awesome podcast. You guys nailed it again. It's funny now. Dealerships haggle and get bent out of shape when you want to try to knock off some of that overhead price. Usual car prices are 70% overhead. They just piss on your leg and tell you it's raining when they take a small amount off the bullshit sticker. So my Toyota was supposed to be in 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
The 4Runner, right? So now we're at 4 weeks. We were supposed to pick it up Saturday. They texted Amanda today and said it's going to be another 3 to 4 weeks. So I'd always heard like Tacomas are 100% built in the United States. Apparently the 4Runner's not. Because 2 weeks ago they told her there was a storm and the truck was on a ship coming from Japan. There was a storm and something happened. I'm like, did you lose a whole truck of Toyotas? The whole fucking boat? Like, what's the deal? So I'm seriously like, all right, hey, I kept up my end of the deal. You guys didn't fucking want to fulfill this paperwork I wanted to do. I wanted to lock into this. Thank you for not locking me in. I'm going to go get something else.
You probably should.
Like a Porsche GT4 RS.
You probably should.
It'd be so cool.
You probably should.
Then I can have 3 of them. They'll be a perfect line.
I mean, I get it. Those cars are cool, and I would love to have one in California. But the problem is we live in Tennessee. And
so it'll be low mileage.
What do you say? What do you say in Tennessee?
14 miles to Walmart.
No, but like, what do you think? 55% of the roads are still dirt here?
Probably, yeah.
Like, still
the freeways
dirt?
are pretty nice.
The freeways are nice. Yeah, the freeways are nice.
It's just getting to that freeway.
Going it, but man, you got a lot of fucking gravel you got to cross before you get a lot of places.
Hey John, it took me so long to buy on one of your products because I could not afford to really buy anything that would be useful to me, so I saved the money instead. Replying from Thursday audio only podcast. I've been following you since a paid for by haters video. Brian, that is the way to answer a fucking question. You told us what you were going to say and told us what it was about so we could reply to it. I do that a lot, man. Like I go and buy stuff that I didn't leave planning to buy. I buy stuff on impulse on site. I have a lot of stuff that we bought that's amassed, and it's not I just like buying stuff. Like, I like to buy stuff, and I'll buy something, and then a lot of times we'll have something here that we know we have, but it's literally easier to go buy another one than to find it, or to find the parts for it.
I do that too.
That's how I have so many fucking like batteries to things. Like the drones. Like, I crash one, I could send it in and get it fixed for a couple $100, but if I buy another one, I get 6 more batteries. Now I have 18 batteries. I just crashed another drone. I didn't. The fucking power lines crashed it. It didn't even spark or anything. Like, it makes me wonder what... Maybe you actually can touch power lines. I don't think so. It wasn't grounded. Dude, thanks for becoming a customer, man. I hope we lived up to your expectations. You definitely don't have to spend money to interact with us. Fucking just tell somebody somewhere. Fucking tell somebody online about our shit. If you can't afford our stuff or you don't have a use for it, no problem, man. Speaking about the Fitbit, I saw a company that makes a tracking device for your kids. It pings your app on your phone and can be linked to other devices. Also, tamper removal resistance. For those with small kids and daughters, might be worth checking into. Thanks, SOE and crew, for all the time and content. Yes, you can put an app on any phone. I have 4 phones on my account. I can see where any of those are. I can also put an app on there to see any place that phone looks at or anything that phone does. And you can also, tracking devices are fucking cheap and tiny, and you can even buy them at Costco now. And then they have a camera that goes in your car that has GPS, and also anytime your car, like when you're away from your car, it's either motion or shock sensing. It's called a hummingbird or woodpecker or something. Hummingbird. So if somebody bumps your car, it actually has cameras front and back on your car as well as inside, I believe. So it sees what you would see sitting in your passenger seat, but it also records the vehicle that bumped your car or the car on the side that fucking smacked your car. Like, it's pretty... I have not personally used it. I've made comments about it, and people have said, hey, this thing's fucking awesome. There's a video I saw about it. John, looking for your recommendations on a belt to wear underneath my duty belt. I already have a 175 Riggers belt that I got when I was in the Marine Corps. Best belt I've ever had. Tried wearing it. I tried wearing it under my duty belt, but between the buckle and the D-ring, it's too much under the belt. Thanks in advance. Okay, so most people were using a low-profile belt underneath or our trouser belt. Do you want to Velcro your belt around and have them lock, or do you want to use keepers? We make a belt called the underbelt. Just get on the website, in the search bar, top right hand corner, every page, just put in liner belt, underbelt, anything like that. You will find it, and you order your size. It overlaps in the front, Velcro's closed, there's no buckle or anything, and you can get it with hook or Velcro on the outside to match whatever belt, whether it be our belt or somebody else's belt. And we offer that. We've offered it for a few months. We've never really promoted it or pushed it, but it's out there. And then he goes on to say, next purchase will be another belt and an active shooter bag to keep in my patrol car. If you want an active shooter bag, now's the time to get them. I've got some sitting there. We didn't run them for years and years.
We got black ones.
We ran every order and ran some extras, and we still have a few of them. I know there's Typhon Hot Pink. I know there's Typhon, and I believe there's Black. And I think there's a Coyote too. But now's a good time to get it. Another, where are you a cop at, man? And do you still like being a cop? Another great podcast. I get my ticket in Florida because I am in the prepaid lane. Oops. Oh yeah, somebody said that if I went on the bridge coming out of Kentucky into what's right there, Indiana.
I don't know.
Which we did do. They said that's where you got the ticket. It very well might be where we got that ticket for $4. If you went over the bridge from Louisville to Indiana, which we did because the concrete lady's over there, there's a place over there that makes concrete life-size rhinoceroses, and that's what we went over there for.
Is it a? Because John just said it was $4, and I know that do you remember the freeway that?
The thing is, there was nothing there. Like there was no place to stop and pay or anything.
But is it so? You remember how they split the 5 and you could take
the toll road
through? They did the same thing for that toll road.
But it never was a toll road. It was a carpool lane.
Well, no, they changed it to a toll road. So it was a toll road.
Apparently, you're not allowed to drive in there with a trailer, and I did it 100 times and never got stopped.
And you have a booth. You used to have a booth. They got
rid of
they got rid of all the booths, and now it's just when you go through there, you get a fucking thing that says, "Hey, you got to pay your toll."
Huh.
I'm just guessing because it's $4. You know,
that's where you got the toll ticket in the mail. That must be what it is.
Usually, when you get a ticket, it's for more than that.
And the last comment: the Fulton Recovery System. Oh, that's that parachute thing, the hot air balloon.
Oh, Fulton Recovery
snatches
System.
them, fucking air hooks them.
Yep, it was used in the movie The Green Berets with John Wayne.
It was used in something else too, a Clancy movie or something.
Probably. I would expect Clancy to use some craziness like that. 6:15.
It's Friday. Everybody's gone.
Everybody's gone.
Everybody have a good weekend. You probably won't hear this till Monday. So if you had a bad weekend, I'm sorry that you had a bad weekend.
Leave more comments next time. And
leave more comments. Everybody's so worried about this 100 episode thing. Leave fucking comments and we'll keep going. All right, guys.
Later.
Are you gonna go home and eat potatoes?
I don't know what I'm gonna go do.